Hi, I'm Mr. Simons, and in this video we're going to look at how you should allocate your time during your trial HSC or your actual HSC. And I think you should go in there with a really clear plan about how you're going to allocate your time. So let's look at ways to do that in this video. Here we go. Okay, so this is the typical front page of an economics exam, and you can see here, let's just grab a pretty thick pen. You can see here that this is from 2018, but I can guarantee you that this front is identical from year to year. So I could have got any exam, any economics exam in this format, and it would still have this same setup. So you can see here that we've got reading time is 5 minutes, working time is 3 hours. That's kind of how it goes. But can you see here that multiple choice section 1, 20 multiple choice, 1 to 20 allow 35 minutes for this section. Then the short answer section, 4 of those short answers, each worth 10 marks. It says allow an hour and 15 for this section. The first essay, section 3, it's the essay with the stimulus attached, and that it's saying allow 35 minutes for this. And then the last section, that's the non-stimulus essay, and they're also saying, ooh, allow 35 for this section. Now, I've always been really perplexed by this. Because 35 minutes for an essay is insufficient. In terms of what examiners are looking for and what they expect, I don't think you're going to get there in 35 minutes. So I was always kind of curious as to why the numbers are broken down in this way. And a very smart chemistry teacher told me that they thought it was because what NASA had done is they say, okay, so they've just broken it down according to minutes per mark, and that what you should then spend on each section. What I think you should do is just ignore that idea. Instead, what we need to do is think about what are the sections that are going to take you the most time, and what are the sections that will take you the least time. So what we'll do is we'll switch our pen color. We'll get a nice purple. So we're going to say that purple, anything that I write in purple, these are my suggested timings. I'm not saying you should guarantee always do this, but in my experience, this will give you pretty good time to do. This will allow you to spend more time on the tougher sections. So let's say we've got section 1, 20 marks. In an ideal world, we're going to spend 20 minutes here. In order to spend 20 minutes, we really have to be work quite quickly, quite deliberately. We have to back ourselves. We can't sort of second guess ourselves too much. And the other thing I would say is, that you should guess and then come back to, if you have time, the tough questions. And the tough questions are usually somewhere around 17 to 20, but they could be chucked in earlier. So what I'm saying is that really be deliberate about that 20 minutes. If a question is taking you 2 or 3 minutes, see if you can break it down to 50-50 and then just move on. Come back to it. You're only talking about a single mark in all of those instances. Okay, then we move on to the short answer section. What I would really like to be able to do is kind of give each short answer, each 10 mark section, about 15 minutes. So I'm trying to spend an hour in total on this section. Look, it might take a little bit longer. There are some questions that might be a bit shorter, but I really think that if you can stick to 20, if you can stick to an hour, then that's going to be extremely helpful. Because if we add these two numbers together, so what we've got here is, let's say we've got 80 minutes. So an hour and 20 minutes to do sections 1 and to knock off section 2. And I would also do it in this order, but more on that later. So then we come to the really tough stuff, and I think that this requires the most time. So if I've used 80 minutes here, then this is going to leave me 100 minutes, right? So 50 for each. And I think that is more realistic. So 50 for each. 35 is not going to allow you to get into it in as much detail if you want to access those higher marks. Access those marks. Why do we say access marks? Why don't we just say get those marks, or I don't know, have those marks? Anyway, so that's how I would break it down. I would say 20, 60, and then 50, and then 50. And that the order I would do them in would be, let's get blue. Blue is always good. So I would say multiple choice first, short answer second. The reason that I say that is quite often in the multis and the shorts, there will be something to help you with your thinking in the essays, or even like the multi stuff could help you in the short answer. And then both of these things could help you in terms of these sections. But what I would do is I really would just ignore these suggestions, and I would allocate the time much more deliberately and purposefully so you can spend more time on the tougher sections. Okay, look, I'm not the total expert in this field. That if your teacher or someone else is suggesting something different, then share it in the comments. Let me know your approaches and what might work for you. Maybe you can get the multis done in 15 minutes and leaving yourself much more time somewhere else. So share your strategy, see if you can help some other people here on the channel. And as always, thank you very much for watching.